Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're back with another episode of Pleasant View Stories.
I've been driving this train, years in this lane.
Daniel is cooking a homemade meal because he is planning a little date for him and Mary Sue. You might be surprised, but Daniel is kind of over this. He's over himself, the situation, being by himself, and he misses company. He misses someone to pick up after him, and that's what Mary Sue always did. He's going to invite her over, hopefully for a romantic dinner, so to say. It's up to Mary Sue whether or not it's going to be super romantic or she's going to bring her parents, but it looks like she's actually decided to leave her parents at home, so that is great news for us. So I'm just going to resume cooking. We're making some spaghetti. That's probably all he knows how to make, because usually he has the maid do everything for him, and you guys know Mary Sue fired the last two maids because Daniel couldn't stop snogging with them. And then she decided to hire a male maid, which Daniel's not so fond of him. He doesn't really get along with him, but that's not the point. He does his job really well, and that's what he should be judged for, not for how well, they provide other services for Daniel, especially not since he's married, Wait for him to finish cooking these spaghetti, because if we don't, I'm afraid that he might actually burn down the house before I have a chance to pass it down to any of his children. And with any, I mean one of the two girls, because obviously we don't have many more family, and I know he's going to give it to his sir, do not do that. Are you going to let your wife in, or are you just going to let her stand outside? Where'd she go? Oh my god, okay, hold on. I thought that he might have... Oh my god, he missed her so much. He's just like, let me welcome you with my lips. He's not seen her in a while, but I was gonna say I was afraid that no casual set. We're gonna call her to you. I was afraid that he wouldn't open the door in time, and then Mary Sue would just leave, which wouldn't be very good. Are you? But oh my gosh, what's going on, you guys? Oh, okay. You know what? This casual romance adjuster thing that I have sometimes is a bit okay. She's gonna get that plate, that's fine. Can you at least sit at the table? Okay, at least that much. She's giving me that much. If the house looks a bit different to you guys, I have recently I mean like 5 minutes ago, finished the outside of the house. I'm planning on doing it inside as well. I kind of want to give every house in this town a makeover and make it to my likings. And I'm just gonna pause it for a second because I don't want to miss the moment, but I've been using these windows, and for the longest time I thought that these weren't like actual windows. I thought they were decorative, and I also kind of forgot about them. They are also perfect goth windows as well, with like the decoration, but they work really well in this household and in this house, and I really wanted to give this house something special, something that the other houses don't have. And considering they live in a big house, I do believe that they have a lot of money, and we can definitely dress this house up, so to say. Oh my god, Mary, do not talk about dodging a bullet. Mary Sue is she's just kind of sitting there and looking at him with his little suit on and wondering what's the special occasion, and she's just going to just casually ask him a bunch of questions. Why am I here? Why are you in a suit? Did you cook this meal? Where's the maid? You didn't fire him, did you? Or did you find another girl to hook up with? Kind of like snappy, bitchy, like insecure remarks about Daniel and his behavior. The behavior that he shows usually isn't very great, so it's logic that she would be very hesitant to trust anything that comes out of his mouth. And since Daniel cooked her dinner and he wanted her to come over and sit in his suit, she has been a little hesitant, so to say. She doesn't really know what to make of the situation. Now, Mary Sue is staying at her parents' house, as you guys know, and Daniel is feeling super freaking lonely. I'm telling you, this guy, he doesn't even know what to do with himself. I'm telling you. Mary Sue used to be the one that would pick up after him, and if the maid didn't cook a meal, she could always just provide some lunch for him or she would, clean up after herself or after Daniel, or she would like lay out his clothes for the next day, set the alarm in the morning, wake him up, prepare, just do these little things for him that he now has to do for himself. And he's realized that he does not like this. He misses Mary Sue and everything she did for him, but he also knows that forgiveness is kind of hard to ask because, one, he's not sorry. He's more sorry that he got caught. He's not sorry for doing it because, these girls are way hotter than his wife, and that's just facts. That's just how it is. He's not as attracted to Mary Sue as he is to the other girls. If not, he wouldn't be cheating with them, I guess. I mean, maybe Mary Sue has been emotionally distant. I mean, I can see how that would play a part, but there's more than, their personal issues that's making Daniel cheat so much. It's definitely the desire to seek out hot women and, just being seduced by everyone that doesn't have a peen. He's very simple like that. Now, Mary Sue is, I'm actually going to have her go to the bathroom, kind of clear her mind, maybe splash some water in her face. And, I think Daniel has been saying some sweet, sappy words to her. Maybe you should come home. Maybe you should give it another chance. I've changed. I miss you so much. I've been cleaning. I've been cooking. We were such a great duo, like talking to her with those kind of words, trying to convince her to come back home. And, it's actually working. Not because Daniel has, such sweet words. No. Because Mary Sue herself is kind of tired of staying in her parents' house. And she's kind of realizing that her parents may have had a point somewhere in their twisted reality and twisted truths. There was a point. See, Mary Sue grew up with the belief that you're supposed to stay with the person you marry even if you don't like them because you vowed to be with this person, right? But when a relationship doesn't really work, you don't like the person, that's really hard to accept. And you look for a role model and you look for someone to give you advice. And the kind of advice that Lucy's family gave her was, you're just gonna stay with him. It doesn't matter what he does. If he cheats on you, you work it out. Some not so shallow things would also be a good example. Maybe stuff like, if you have a lot of arguments about stupid stuff, or you can never find an agreement on like the house or the kids or whatever, then instead of talking it out, you can always just accept it. You can always just compromise. You don't have to have a healthy relationship. It just has to look like one. Drink some coffee, actually. And it's been really hard for her to accept this because part of her is trying to go against exactly that, against everything that her parents believe in and everything that she's been raised with. But at the same time, she's kind of thinking, well, what's the point anyway? I don't really want to be with another man. I feel like I'm too old to be with another guy, and I want nothing more for my family to be back together. So maybe sucking it up and compromising really isn't the worst, And maybe she spent so much of her life with Daniel that she kind of feels like her time has run out. Maybe if she had these wishes earlier before she had children, or maybe they took it this far, she's almost an elder. Maybe if she did it earlier in her teens, not teens, oh my gosh. Maybe if she had done this in her young adulthood, or, the beginning stages of being an adult, then yeah, maybe things would have been different. Maybe she would have had a better chance at finding a new life, but in her mind, in her idea, it's too late. I want her to apologize to him, and I think this is a really important part in the relationship. Daniel screws up so often, but Mary Sue is the one who accepts it and gets over it, and she allows him to do this by, no matter what happens, coming back to him and apologizing for the way that she's been behaving, saying, I'm so sorry, I must have done something wrong, maybe it's my fault, and maybe, things like that. She's really been manipulated in a way to always come back, and I'm saying that it's partly because of her upbringing, but also partially because this is just how her marriage has always been, and her insecurities to go and find a new life. These are just the things that are too much for her to think of and to actually follow through with. So in this moment, she decides to accept his well, it wasn't really an apology, but he said sorry. He didn't really mean it, I think, but he did say sorry. Do you think he does mean it? I have no idea. I don't really trust Daniel whatsoever. Decided that he really would love for her to move back in, and you know what? She actually feels exactly the same. She's tired, she's done. She wants to go back in. Oh, come on. Just as I want them to move in together, this is what happens. Well, it's okay. We'll just have a bit more gameplay at, you know, her house, and then you know, we can just go with it. So he's gonna go to bed, and I'm gonna go and head over to Mary Sue and her parents. We can pretend it's the next day, or she's just been walking really slowly and she just arrived. But Mary Sue is back home. Now, you might be wondering, where the heck are we? This is actually an elderly community that's recently been built in the neighborhood of Pleasantview. These are elderly homes, or homes for people that want to live in a place where you're regularly checked upon and everyone kind of helps out each other. I don't necessarily think only elderly people would live here. I know a lot of, well, I don't know personally, but I heard, and I've you know, read stories about people that are in their 50s and they decide to move into a place like this because they just love being together and, you know, being taken care of. Or maybe you're sick, you need the help. Either way, I'm over explaining like I usually do. So her parents actually got a little place here. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. And it doesn't have any for, actually, maybe I should just plop a few items in here. So just in case they get a bit tired, can I actually play something not that's, okay. So apparently everything in this house has to be like this. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Is it literally everything? Does everything? Yeah, everything comes in an angle. Okay, interesting. I might have to look into that because that could get a little annoying. Honestly, it could get a little. Her parents have recently moved in this community, and obviously, since Mary Sue was crashing at her parents' place, she kind of had no other option than to follow along. And even though she has a lot of money herself, it's not like she really wanted a place to herself. She wanted to be in a place that wasn't with Daniel while she figures everything out. But now that she's kind of talked to Daniel and made up her mind, she is so glad that she can finally leave this place. There's just something about being in this place that's not fancy and luxurious, and it doesn't really have the same feeling like her other house has. And it feels kind of poor, and I know that sounds horrible, but Mary Sue is not really one for camping and, you know, common people things. No, she does love the fancy, and her parents are a little bit more, I wouldn't really know how to describe them. I think they're just a bit more down to earth than that. Now, it says that Coral really wants to have another grandchild. But I think she might be a little delusional, because there is no freaking way that Mary Sue is going to have another baby. She already has 2 kids, and those are a handful. Like, let alone raise a third one. Nick, no, she's not. And plus, she feels like she's too old for that as well. She really could not care. Are you sitting outside with your bowl of? All right, well, we'll just join you, oldie. What's your name? Herb. Yes, that's what I said. Her. She's been staying with her parents for quite a few weeks, maybe even months, and they're pretty surprised with how long she's been, you know, keeping this up, but also with how bad the relationship is. Because it's funny, they don't scold her for her relationship with Daniel. They basically just tell her, suck it up. I mean, I don't know if her father said that too, if her mother said that. Maybe they both hate each other. That'd be funny if the oldies hated each other. But actually said that they're loving parents and grandparents. So I'm thinking they might love their children a lot, but they might hate each other a lot as well, which would be really, really, really funny. I'm actually gonna go and probably eat here with my mom. So, you know, because might as well. She's sitting here all by herself. And especially since, you know, Mary Sue is adopted, they must be very loving people towards other people, towards children. She also wants a grandchild. I just don't think they really like each other. Maybe they both told her, well, you're just gonna suck it up, girl. Just suck it up. Either way, they don't scold her for that. But what they have been scolding her on is her relationship with her children. Mary Sue gets told on the daily that her relationship with her children is toxic. Why are they not spending time with each other? Why is Mary Sue not inviting them over? Why is she not spending time with her kids, checking up on them? Why does she not have any contact? She's honestly so freaking surprised that her daughter has no contact with her own daughters, because she would kill for any news. And she doesn't really feel like it's her place to start, meddling. She doesn't want to cause anything basically. She doesn't want to contact the girls and be like, hey, you want to come over? There's something that makes her hesitate quite a lot, and I think it might just be Mary Sue. I don't know, there's just a feeling that she gets whenever she brings up the twins. She feels sad that she hasn't been able to see them, but she looks at Mary Sue and she feels like there's nothing in there that's sad. She feels like she cares more about these kids at the moment than, Mary Sue does. And that might be right. I don't believe that Mary Sue and Daniel are really parental figures. I really don't feel like they care. I really don't get the feeling that, like, that's the case. I think that Mary Sue does kind of miss her mother. No, kind of miss her kids, but their relationship is so difficult that it's hard for her to even accept that she does miss them, because in a way that opens up so many emotions and feelings, and she just doesn't want to deal with them. So she pretends she doesn't care at all, and that feels a lot better. However, Angela has been calling her up quite a lot, even though they don't have a good relationship. She's been calling her up quite frequently, and I think Angela is using her mother at the moment because she needs some place to stay after college and things are not going so well. So it's kind of what she needs to do in order to survive, So this is strictly a tactical move to get back. But I think that they would probably nag just so freaking much that she's like, you know what, I'll invite them over. Okay, happy, I'll do exactly that. And this is a bit unusual because I wouldn't think that she would bud, but I also think that if someone is constantly whining about someone having to come over, and you have to make sure to arrange it because it's your job as a mother, and it frustrates you so much, you then suddenly think, well, I kind of do miss them, and using my grandparents as an excuse would actually be kind of perfect for me to see them. So maybe I can get two things at once. I can please my parents and I can see my kids. I suppose coming over couldn't hurt. So yeah, okay, so she called up one of her kids. Let's see what Lilith has to say. I'll see if I can make it over. Okay, so Angela's a little bit more lenient than than Lilith, but I like how she's contemplating her life, and I think she might have made up some excuse. Maybe she said something like, hey, your grandparents have recently moved in and they really want you to come over, and maybe you could just set aside your stupid differences for once and come and help your mother out and come here and spend some time with your grandparents and use the grandparents as an excuse, basically. I think they might be at the front. Oh, but it looks like both of them came over. I guess they do have... Okay, I do believe that they have a decent relationship with their grandchildren. I do believe they're good people. I think that they just never meet up because they lived far away, or maybe there was a reason why they couldn't keep in contact, but now that they live closer and they've moved, they really want to keep in contact. And especially since all the stories that she's heard about Lilith living with her son-in-law's sister, and Angela not really Angela being moved out and stuff like that. I don't really know her exact living situation, but you know what I mean. I think she would be a little concerned, so she would love to meet up, and I think it's a good way to to kind of check how the relationship is. So I'm gonna have him greet Angela, and then I'm gonna have her greet Lilith. And I want to see how things are gonna go. It looks like Angela's actually coming over to Lilith, and she's like, "Hey sis, you were here too?" She's like, "Yeah. Remember we both got invited? Did you not hear the part where she said the two of us were invited?" Yeah. She's like, "Yeah, but my mom, she called me first, so I wasn't sure if you were gonna be here." And she's like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, if I was here first and I didn't call you, then that kind of would mean that you wouldn't be able to come here, and yet you are here, so that means that you also got a call, which means that I guess it's a good thing that I didn't call you, because yeah, I would have called for nothing." Such a dumb story. I love how Lilith is like, "Fuck you, mom." Nice cat. Actually gonna go and try to chat up with Lilith. This is the hardest relationship to fix. Her and Angela, they kind of use and abuse each other, but her and Lilith, oh my god, that's gonna be so interesting. So she's gonna come over and start talking about arts and crafts, some creative. Oh, they're both talking about the same thing. She's like, "I'm gonna copy exactly what my father is saying, because that seems to work." "Yeah, how you been doing at college? Do you like your major?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm into literature as well, and not just creative designing or whatever it is that she does in college." And her mother's like, "Yeah, I remember when I used to read books. I got an award for reading books in school. I was really good at reading books." And Angela's talking about busts. Oh my god. Mary Sue is trying to fit in with Lilith, and Lilith just is like, yeah. I think she would like awkwardly laugh. It's corals. Corals, oh gosh. Alright. This is a very intimate talk that we're having, but I love how it looks like we're all talking together. And you know what? Angela feels a little insecure because her grandparents are talking with Lilith and her mother, and now she has been left behind again. And this is gonna cause her to feel even more isolated, because she thought she got a call from her mom to be there, and then Lilith turned out to be there too, even though she should have known, because her mother literally said, "You and your sister have to come." She still kind of expected her sister not to show up, but she did, so now they're both there, and now she has to divide the attention between her and her sister, and her grandparents are talking more to her sister than to her, which is just... it's just making her even more insecure. It's just a one big mess. Oh my god, what's she gonna do? Is she gonna beat her up outside? Let's see where Angela's going. I made Lilith selectable. I don't believe that she would want to be here for very long. I think she finds this way too awkward, and who can blame her? Oh my gosh. Okay, so recently Angela joined a Greek house, and now she wants to join a Greek house as well. Is this sibling rivalry at its best again? I'm sorry, Lilith, but I just don't know if I want to do that. Maybe she can join the one of the boys. Oh my god, imagine her and Dirk. Oh, okay, I might think about that. So lastly, I think I'm gonna have her try and talk a bit to her make some small talk with him. And she doesn't necessarily have anything against her grandparents. It's just that they were never really around, and she just doesn't really know how to communicate with her grandparents about something about their daughter. She feels like she's kind of crossing a line. Like, she shouldn't be talking about her mom in a bad way or her sister to her grandparents. She feels like the only people she really trusts with every information are her aunt and uncle. They're not directly related to the family or to her mother's side of the family, so it feels less judged, or she feels more free about speaking about these problems. She does, in a way, want to remain in contact with her grandparents and have some sort of relationship. She's just telling them that it's been just hard, and she's been really just trying to find her own way, and she's been happy. She recently got engaged. She is sharing the news with her grandpa, and sharing that she's okay. Will you not come sit with us, son? Will you not come sit with us? Really happy for her that she's engaged to a nice young man, and he hopes that she will one day introduce them to each other so he can meet them. And he's not mad at her. He's just really happy that she's doing fine, and they want to catch up on some lost time. It's been a while since he's seen her. There's no grudge, no judgment, no nothing between them, no anger, no resentment. There's just Okay, I get it. It's been hard for you. I'm just happy that you're okay, and that's it. And he says maybe good for you to be on your own. You know, you're a young adult now. You're a junior in college, and after college, it might be best if you move out and join the world and explore it. Don't just sit at home and make that your entire world. It's been your world enough. I think he's trying to encourage her to leave the situation in a way that doesn't sound like he's actually agreeing with it. But I do think that somewhere deep down inside, he realizes how toxic this household must be based on what Mary Sue has said about her relationship with Daniel. But they also try to, keep it within the family. So he doesn't really want to say, oh, yeah, you're right. But he also cannot lie to her and say that he feels like she should stay there. I think he's really happy for her to take her own road, her own path. And even if that means that her relationship with her parents is not going to be as close, maybe in the future, maybe after that distance, they can be closer. But just right now, it's not the right thing. Mary Sue and Angela are having a moment together. And Angela's kind of talking about her college experience, saying that she feels really insecure, but she's recently joined a Greek house and things are better. She's making some friends and she's gonna be the hottest girl in town, which she taps on her head and says, that's a big brain move, Mom. That's a big brain move. Sue expresses that it would be really nice for her to come home after college and that she's sorry for how they've behaved. I think Mary Sue might have mellowed a little bit because the separation from Daniel made her realize that she's actually been kind of treating them unfair. She's been projecting her anger from Daniel towards her daughters, both of them. But she also feels like, in a way, Lilith has always been the black sheep or the scapegoat for so long. And it's harder for her to realize that that has also been unfair, even for those years that she didn't have problems with Daniel. However, the years that she had problems with Daniel, she especially fought with Angela, and she sees that as something that she can't admit that is unfair. So it's harder for her to acknowledge that she's done wrong to Lilith than to Angela, just based on when it happened, and the fact that for Lilith it's been all her life and for Angela it's been only recently that they've fallen out. So she's encouraging her to come back home and to spend some time with them, and she doesn't have to figure out what she wants. She could just come home and watch some TV. And I think this is her way of not only trying to reconcile and kind of bring the family back together, she also wants to not be alone with Daniel, and she thinks that if her daughter comes back home, maybe she can, feel a little bit more at ease, or I don't know, she's gonna have a better time. I'm really not exactly sure. Either way, I'm going to end this part here. I think I've blabbed on long enough. But yeah, this is Coral and Ori's. Coral and Ori's. This is their new house, or their new place. Obviously, you have to decorate a little bit better, you guys. But this is where they're going to be living and spending their time, and they're absolutely fine with it. They don't need a lot of money. They do have it, but they don't need it. And I think that maybe with the money they're saving, they're looking at maybe giving the twins a little graduation gift if they get good grades. But imagine Angela doesn't get good grades and Lilith does, and then they don't give her the money. Not because they hate her, but because they made this pact, good grades, get the money. And they're gonna hold it on until, hold the money until Angela does something that's worth getting it. But it would, oh my god, Angela's gonna freak out and she's gonna feel so left out again. Anyway, thank y'all so much for watching this part. I want to say thank you. Oh, I already said that, but it doesn't matter. Thank y'all for watching this channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say